Once upon a time, a grandmother named Beatrice Thompson lived in the small, quaint town of Willowdale, New Hampshire. She was no ordinary grandmother but one who became a local legend and international sensation for growing peonies. Not just any peonies, but ones that were the size of basketballs. Her vast garden, teeming with a multitude of these giant, colorful, fragrant blooms, attracted people worldwide. Beatrice, or Granny B, as she was affectionately known, lived in a white Victorian house, its exterior made of weathered wooden panels and roof shingled in ocean blue. However, it wasn't the house that caught visitors' eyes, but the sprawling garden out front. This lush expanse was home to peonies of myriad colors, from deep, vibrant reds and plush pinks to soft, pure whites and charming yellows. And these peonies were gigantic, each rivaling a basketball size. Growing up in Willowdale, Bee learned gardening from her grandmother, Maud. It was Maud who first introduced the then 7-year-old Bee to the art of nurturing peonies, pointing out the delicate nature of the flower. While other children played games and chased each other in the sunlit meadows, Bee toiled in the garden, patiently caring for each bud, watching them grow and blossom into full bloom. Her love for peonies was deeply rooted in those memories. Over the years, her hobby turned into a passion, and this passion morphed into a lifelong pursuit. During her years as a botany student at university, she stumbled upon a rare species of peony, Peonia, Willowdale. Intrigued by the striking features of this flower, she decided to cultivate it in her garden back home. It was a feat she had only dreamed about, something she knew could redefine the boundaries of botanical sciences. Through the years, Bee crossbred the Willowdale species with traditional peonies. She spent countless hours in her garden, meticulously tending each plant with an unconditional, maternal love. The result was a mesmerizing hybrid, a peony that grew larger than any other, with each bloom measuring up to the size of a basketball. News of her horticultural marvel spread like wildflowers. People from neighboring towns began visiting her garden, their eyes wide with amazement at the sight of her colossal peonies. Journalists came calling, their cameras flashing, eager to capture the breathtaking beauty of Bee's garden. Stories and photographs were published in local and national newspapers, and soon enough, people from around the globe began to flock to Willowdale to witness Granny Bee's magnificent creations. Her garden became a popular tourist attraction, a botanical wonder. Bee was interviewed by countless television networks, featured in several gardening and lifestyle magazines, and even had a documentary made about her and her magical peonies. Every spring, Willowdale held a festival in her honor, where she would open her garden to the public and showcase her extraordinary blooms. As her fame spread, she began to win countless awards for her unparalleled contribution to horticulture. Universities and botanical gardens sought her expertise. She was conferred honorary degrees and titles, cementing her Peony Queen status. Despite her newfound fame and recognition, Granny Bee remained humble and modest. She would spend hours with visitors, sharing stories about her garden and offering tips on peony cultivation. Her eyes sparkled as she talked about her passion, her peonies. Each award she won wasn't a personal achievement but a victory for her beloved blooms. Yet, what filled her heart with the most joy wasn't the accolades or attention but the sheer happiness her garden brought to people. Watching children giggle as they hid behind the enormous blooms, witnessing couples strolling hand in hand, and observing artists sketching or painting her flowers gave her an indescribable joy. It was then that she realized her peonies had a magical ability to connect people, to bring them together. On her 80th birthday, the townsfolk of Willowdale presented her with a bronze statue of her kneeling and tending to a giant peony. The inscription read, "To Granny Bee, the woman who taught us to find magic in nature's beauty." It was a fitting tribute to the woman who dedicated her life to something she loved and, in the process, created a world filled with wonder, beauty, and the enchanting scent of her basketball-sized peonies. As the day's festivities came to a close, with the sun setting and painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, Bee's neighbor, Martha, came forward. Martha, a kind and friendly woman, had long admired Bee's work but never found the courage to express her desire. "Bee," Martha began, slightly shy, "I've been your neighbor for over 2 decades. Every spring, I've watched your garden burst into a spectacle of color and life, your peonies taking the spotlight. And every year, I wonder if I could ever cultivate something so enchanting. Bee smiled warmly, her eyes twinkling with delight. She had always sensed Martha's love for her garden, seen the admiration in her gaze. "Dear Martha," Bee responded, placing a comforting hand on Martha's shoulder, "you're already halfway there. You have the passion, the admiration for the beauty of nature, and the patience I've seen you invest in your lovely garden. All you need now are a few tips, and I'd happily guide you." Martha's face lit up with an expression of joy and gratitude. Bee's garden, which had brought pleasure to countless people, was now preparing to share its magic more directly. Bee realized that in teaching Martha, she was not just passing on her gardening techniques but was also ensuring that her legacy would continue. Her heart swelled with pride and contentment, her eyes dancing over her garden, her beloved peonies, as they swayed gently in the evening breeze, signifying the blossoming of a new mentorship and a new era of giant peonies in Willowdale.